I guess my way of curating is my judgment in terms of the way I look and the way I see. And with a lot of my paintings, I'd never know when to stop, but I always know there's one point where I'm like, this in my eye looks great.
Where did all these books come from? Are they ones you've collected over the years?
Yeah, I always tend to buy every single catalogue that I can for every exhibition that I go to.
Yeah.
I think it's just nice to be able to keep all the catalogues and the memorabilia for every show and artist that I particularly fancy and like.
Do you feel that that sort of Korean upbringing, does that impact your work or this discussion of identity?
Definitely when I was at school, I had a massive identity crisis. And then I went home, and then my parents are like the most Korean people in the world, which is great, and I love Korean food and everything like that, but it was just very big changes and very different. There was quite a lot of pressure for me to perform in terms of the academic side, especially being brought up with Korean parents. Deep down inside, it wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do. I really just wanted to make paintings.
It feels like there's quite a strong sense of community around your work.
I always say that my friends are my inspiration, and I've grew up with these guys since St. Martin's, and we've all developed as artists all together. I think that community that we've built for ourselves is like a really, really beautiful thing that we have. Yeah, it's quite a pattern in my life. I'm going to collect all of them, maybe display them somewhere. I think they're quite funny. I always wear my glasses when I paint, but I always tend to leave everything on the floor and I just step on everything. I kind of put them together again, I guess, but maybe we can... I'm trying my best. I always try to avoid myself in my work, especially with my artwork, because I guess my job entailed me doing a lot of stuff that was about the way I looked. And I wanted to kind of shy away from that quite a lot. There's definitely an identity thing with that as well, because I'm seen as something and someone when I'm actually an artist. So that was a big struggle as well while I was modelling. Must Have Eyes in Teen Vogue. I remember that did a feature in it once.
Are you one of the boys of summer?
No. I'm like, maybe I was. Like people, like it was like People to Watch or something. There we go. People watching.
Look.
And it's like visual arts, not just a pretty face, which is a terrible thing to say. I mean, I've got very different ways of working, and it all just depends on the day. It depends on what I'm interested in at the time. So I do a lot of photography as well, and I obviously travel a lot, so I obviously take loads of photos abroad. Mainly of people, actually, I'm more interested in. I wanted to try and make a photo that looks like a painting, and because obviously there's so many artists that can make a painting look like a photo. The technique that I use with this transferring, it kind of brings this ghostly effect to it, and it kind of removes the identity of whoever's being in that photo. And I feel that that process is quite interesting, because when you see a photo, you're always identifying someone. You're identifying a memory or a place, and with my friends as well, like taking their identity away is quite interesting, because I've been giving gifts to people with their photo, with only I or her or he knows that that photo was that particular photo that they took in the past or I took in the past, and no one else will be able to recognize it. And I think that's quite a beautiful idea. I don't necessarily think that you have to have some sort of procedure in terms of the way you work, because, as I said, I just want to experiment as much as I can as a young artist and maybe channel myself into something in the future.